You're here why?
To see you to get some more money. No, I'm
That's
here.
how it works.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
how it works. How much would you like?
How much do you have?
All of it. For you, all of it.
When I started telling this story, it was about how my dad played for the Harlem Globetrotters for 18 years. But I found I couldn't tell his story without telling my own. I couldn't tell my own story without telling my family's.
My name's HUBERT DAVIS. We're here at Untitled Films in Toronto, Canada. Today I'm meeting with Jesse, a photographer, and working on our visual treatment for Burden, which is a feature drama currently in development. It's a narrative drama, but it's based on some of the documentary work that I had done. A documentary called Invisible City, which took place in Regent Park over a number of years. And I was kind of influenced by that to write this script.
In this community, manhood comes fairly early. When you're out there, you're expected to be a lot older than you actually are. Being weak is not an option.
The writing process is so lonely because you're like, you are just by yourself. It's like the worst process ever. And so it's like so relieving to get to
a point where someone else can look at it
yeah.
and be like, oh, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Have like some sort of discussion about it.
That shot's amazing.
Yeah, I know. That's like right out of the...
I don't know where that came from, but it's stunning.
It's funny, like the idea of collaboration is just, I think it's just finding the right people who have a similar aesthetic. That's half the battle. Yeah, that's nice. That was good.
That shot won part of the World Press story this year.
I think the reason that I like working with Jesse is because he's always able to bring a freshness to the images that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
You know, like
my goal is fully to help you tell the story. For someone to see this for the first time, if they've read the script, they could read the script along with the pages of this. Like
originally, I think we were like working to the timeline of going in for meetings to talk about the script and for the funding process. But it's not just that, because it's also then becomes a template for everyone that I work with, like my art director, DOP, all the people that are involved, wardrobe. You start to get all these ideas based on these photographs and references. And it's not like you're gonna replicate each one, but then suddenly they understand like what you're talking about. That's always the hardest thing in our industry sometimes is like, where do you find inspiration? And for me, I search for it wherever I can, whether it's through music or photography or other films. Inspiration works in that it might not be that exact piece that is going to be the, you know, in the finished film, but it gets you thinking about something else, and one thing leads to another and leads to another. And it's that kind of collective idea of a bunch of people being inspired and collaborating together that I think makes an interesting film. I don't like things that just feel
staged.
Yeah.
Or literal. Too literal, and the image is shot the way that you expect to see a scene in a room in a sitcom.
You know, if you think of the two of us in this room, here's a master shot, and then there's a tight on Jesse, there's a tight on me. You know, that's our framing, our coverage. We go through the scene and do our lines. It's like, there's probably like the easy way to do it, you know? Like you just go in and it's set up, okay, here we go. And then there's like 10 ways we can shoot this, but there's one that's more in line with what I think is
interesting.
Yeah. The portrait artist who I did the documentary on for the portrait, his line was like, you have something in your head and you're always striving for that, but then you never get there. That's what keeps you going on to the next one, because you're like, oh, in my head, this is way better. and then, so
it's the new one.
Yeah, so then he like starts on another, and then he's like, oh, and he just keeps going through that process over and over again. I was like, well, what do you deem as success? He's like, Well, if it's a success, I'll go through the painting, I'll look at it, and I'll go through and I'll be able to scan the entire thing, and my eye never stops moving, and I get to the end and it's complete. And I was like, wow, it's like so specific. Like, that's
very specific.
It was like, this is what it is. And for him, it's the process of creating it. That's what it is all about. It's inspiring because that is true, right? Like, it is the process of actually creating something that is the remarkable thing. My professional life as a director has been marked by a kind of duality of two things that I do, which is direct commercials, which was the production house that we're at today, Untitled Films, and also making documentaries and short films, which I've done through the National Film Board of Canada. Hey Leah, how are you? I'm good. I have a question for you. I'm just right now, right as we speak in this interview for Vice Canada, and I'm at Untitled, but they were wondering if we could pop by there. And where were you thinking at the NFB? Yeah, anywhere that says NFB-ish. Thanks, Leah. Okay, bye. The Oscar nomination for my first film, Hardwood, is go from where I was at that time, which was working as an editor, into branch off into just solely direct projects. I always wanted to direct, and I always kind of had a plan of how to get there, but I think it was going to be meticulous and a little bit slower in order to make that leap, and it just allowed me to make that leap quicker. No, that was one thing they shut down, was a media tech, because you used to be able to come here and watch movies for free. That and the receptionist, first to go. So now, when we go up, you have to call into someone to let you in. Hey, it's Hubert. We're here. Okay, thanks. Bye. This is a very sad little room, I think. Don't you think? It's just it's little. Hi, Kate. How are you? Yeah, it was kind of cool to actually go to the NFB, come out and pull GERRY FLAHIVE, a senior producer there, out of his meeting and hear from him.
Something that's lacking often in documentary is a really high visual sophistication. Too often documentary, to I think its detriment with audiences, is seen as kind of a container for the actual filmmaking is kind of secondary. It's more the story, the characters, the access. They're important, they're vital issues, but the filmmaking's kind of okay. And certainly here at the Film Board, and I think increasingly across documentary, people are understanding that it's filmmaking. You have to have a strong director. It can't just be about capturing reality. It's got to be a really strong visual storytelling, visual interpretation. And Hubert has that. So he's one of our great filmmakers here. And so we would take complete credit for all of his work, I think, essentially. We just found him. He was just in a coffee shop, and we built him up from nothing, is what I'm trying to say. That's what we do, and then we discard, we spit him out.
That's right.
And he's out on the world now, and I hope he survives.
Yeah, fending for myself. Yes.
Yeah, we'll give you another shot, maybe 10, 15 years from now.
What I love about the NFB is just that ability and to just actually be interested in storytellers, and supporting directors in those projects, because it's becoming harder and harder to find.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jerry.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah.
I really do view myself as an artist, and I think that inherently means crossing new territory and trying to get out of your comfort zone and try to explore new tangents and things, and not just kind of repeat yourself in what you've done. So that's why this project, Burden, is so personal to me and such a passion project, because I've been thinking about it for a long time and working on it, and kind of having images in my head of what it can be, and it's just finally getting to the stage where I can start to see kind of an end in sight.